Welcome to the Society of Light and Lighting webinar, Lighting the Acropolis of Athens. My name is Alexandra Kalimeri. I'm the chair of the SLL Events Committee, and I will be chairing today's webinar. Before introducing our speaker, I will run through some housekeeping notes. If you're experiencing any difficulty in hearing or seeing today's webinar, we recommend leaving the session and logging back in. We recommend using Google Chrome as your browser in order to run the session. Following today's presentation and the discussion, there will be an interactive Q&A session. So we encourage you to post questions using the chat function throughout. We will aim to answer as many questions as possible. And if there are unanswered questions, we will share this with the speaker and aim to provide a response following the event. A link to the recording of today's webinar will be sent out shortly after the session has finished. And if you would like more information about the Society of Light and Lighting, please visit the website www.sll.org.uk or contact sll@cibse.org. So for today's session, we are joined by Eleftheria Deko. Since 1990, Eleftheria Deko has designed the lighting for more than 450 performances for theatre, music, dance, opera in Greece and abroad. In 2004, Eleftheria received an Emmy Award for lighting the opening and closing ceremonies of Athens, of the Athens Olympic Games. And in 2009, she was named Woman Artist of the Year for her contribution in the arts in Greece. She has taught stage lighting design at New York University and at the School of Fine Arts of the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, and also architectural lighting design at the Hellenic Open University. In 2000, she founded Eleftheria Deko and Associates Lighting Studio for Architectural Lighting, and since then, the firm has developed the lighting design for a variety of public and private venues, nationally and internationally. In September 2020, Eleftheria and her team completed the new lighting of the Acropolis of Athens and its 17 monuments that received a worldwide recognition and numerous nominations and awards, including the Dark Award 2020 for Structures, High Budget, as well as the Events Award. I would like now to invite Eleftheria to start her presentation. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to be here and to share our experience, mine and my team's experience during this incredible project. And I very, very much thank the SLL and Alexandra Kalimeri for inviting me for this webinar. This project, the lighting of the Acropolis and its 16 monuments, it was, as you can all imagine, it was not a simple project. Actually, it was a journey, a very interesting journey for all of us. And as a Greek, I have to say it was the biggest honor to be able to do the lighting of this site, archaeological site. And as we all know, the Acropolis is for all Greeks, actually it's the symbol of Athens and the symbol of Greece, but at the same time for the whole world, it's the symbol of civilization, democracy, and we had a very, very big, a part of the honor, a burden that we have to make it good. We didn't have, let's say, the luxury to do any mistakes for this lighting. For the history, I have to mention that at the beginning of 2020, January, it was end of January, actually, of 2020, the Onassis Foundation and the Ministry of Culture of Greece, they chose our studio to do the lighting study of this of the monuments. And not only the lighting study, but we had to undertake also the implementation of the study and the installation of the new lighting. And this meant not only lighting fixtures and just the replacement of the old luminaries, but also the replacement and change of the whole electric circuit, cabling circuits, and also the control panels. All these are good news, because we were very proud and happy that we undertook this amazing job. But the bad news was that we had to complete our study within 45 days. And more than that, we had to complete the whole installation, and the whole project had to be completed by the end of June. During that time, pandemic in Europe had not arrived yet, and we had no clue. We didn't know what would happen. We tried to bargain a little bit for some more extra time, but the Ministry of Culture were very strict about it. And of course, the Onassis Foundation, that I have to mention here, that Onassis Foundation was the donor sponsor of the whole project, not only the study, but the whole project. So we had to start working immediately. Didn't have not even a day to just think about it. We had to start working. And what we did, what I did with my team is I divided my team in 3 groups. Before that, though, while, let's say, signing our contracts, we started by observing the site and the existing, at that time, lighting from different parts of Athens, from different views, either neighborhoods, nearby neighborhoods, or neighborhoods from further away, and to see the pluses and minuses, if I may say, of the previous lighting. And also we did a lot of observation and many visits on the site and around the site, inside and around the temples and the monuments, to figure out also the installation, the existing installation. So you can see my screen. I have to go like this. So one of the very first things, can you see my screen? Okay. One of the very first things that we observed, and I have to say that we didn't like, because it was not very flattering to the monument, was the color temperature of the light. It seemed a very orangey or very, very warm color. And we have taken all these photographs in order to be able to study and see, as I said before, the plus and the minuses. Another observation had to do with the uniformity of the lighting, the same lighting and type of lighting in color, temperature, and direction that was used for the monuments. It was used also for the rock and the walls. Here is another view from, let's say, Propyla, which is the west side of the Acropolis. And this is another view from further away, which is from the east side and from the next hill, which is the Lycabettus hill. It's amazing during this observation from how many places of the city, the Parthenon, especially the Parthenon, is seen. And this was something we had to take into consideration. In which way? In the way that the intensity that we supposedly we will use, the lux levels that we wanted to use, they had to be in the perfect balance, so it will be seen from far away, but it not feel burnt if you were seeing the monument up close. And then another observation we did was it had to do with the previous technology, the previous lighting technology, that the HIT lamps, the metal halide lamps, as we all know, when they start lighting up, it takes around 3 to 5 minutes that they turn first turquoise color and then to their regular color. And we thought this was very, very inappropriate, even if it lasted for only 3 or 4 minutes, to have this effect. Another observation was the, how to say, the cabling of the previous installation was thrown in not in an order. So we immediately, with our colleagues, the electricians, we had as priority that the lighting installation, of course, has to bring beautiful lighting for the monuments, but even in the daytime, for the guests and the tourists and the visitors of the site, everything had to be in order. The cabling, and I will speak later about the luminaires themselves. Another problem we saw and we found out during our observation was the pollution, a lot of light pollution because of the direction of most of the lights. Some of them were placed inside of the temple, staring outside, and this created a lot of light pollution and glare to different views all around the city. Closer observation, we realized that the intensity, the lux levels and the intensity of the luminaires were in several places really strong and high, and in other places very dim. Here you can see again another problem that we realized, and it was too many luminaires to just light an area that we could use half or even less than half in order to do the lighting of a surface of or of the Caryatids monuments. And also luminaires, of course, it was the previous technology, because the previous lighting installation happened in 2004. So we're talking for almost 2 decades technology, if we go back then. And we realized that we don't like to have so much the lighting installation to be more present than the monuments themselves. Some more photos that they show what we thought, and we call it a problem, the cabling and the luminaires. Also the cabling, the way they roll down to the rock was not so nice. We had a lot of collaboration during these first visits with the archaeologists, and with the architect who was our supervisor, to find out how many restrictions we had. And the restrictions, I have to say, if someone deals with a Greek monument and working in an ancient Greek archaeological site, there are very many. I mean, we wanted to hide all the cabling, but we could not dig more than 5 centimeters or 7 centimeters. We wanted to put the bases, but the bases of our luminaries, they have to be in specific, of course, in specific size, shape, and from material, but they could not touch immediately a marble surface. So we took into consideration, we had a very good collaboration with the archaeologists in order to figure out all the restrictions and how we could resolve all the problems technically. And then we did a lot of measurements with our luxometer. We did a lot of, and Kelvin meter, we did a lot of measurements, and what our eyes could see was proven by the instruments that we had in several places 22 lux, and in other places 1,800 lux. And this created a lot of, it was disturbing. Same at the Temple of Parthenon. You can see the different levels of luminosity. Here it's the Erechtheion. Again, you can see that difference. And while we were observing all this and we knew what we should avoid and which direction we should go, as I said before, taking into consideration all the restrictions and all the desires from the Ministry of Culture, it was one day that I realized that Acropolis, of course, it's a unit, monuments, the rock and the walls as a unit, but they're very distinct, the one from the other. So before creating our model and before really starting putting in paper our ideas, we did this Photoshop to, in a way, to make a visualization of a thought and of a new concept that we wanted very much to introduce for the lighting of the Acropolis. The new concept is that we wanted to distinguish the site in 3 parts, in its 3 parts. The one part, we call it the base or nature, which is the holy rock, a rock that existed there before it was inhabited by the Athenians thousands of years ago. And what is very important is, although Acropolis in Greek means the tip or the top of the city, the Acropolis actually, it's not the highest hill of the city, and it's not a hill. It's made of rock, which is very interesting, because at the beginning we all, and with the previous lighting, we thought that this rock was, you know, like a hill, but in reality it was a gray whitish rock. And then the second level we wanted to distinguish, we called it a belt, is the fortifying walls, the fortification walls all around and on top of the rock. And after, on top of and inside, in the middle of this area, the temples and monuments of antiquity were built. And it's amazing because we say that Parthenon is the symbol of democracy. And for some reason we thought, okay, all the temples have a big importance, a significance, but Parthenon, it was the symbol of democracy because it was the first time that the ideal of rule by the people, by the majority of voting, was established exactly at the same time that Parthenon was built. So we thought that the monuments, the temples, they had to have a different light. And because all the temples on the Acropolis hill were curved on Pentelicon marble. Pentelicon marble is a marble that it's really, it really reflects the light. Even now, after so many years, if you go with a small light and you try to light one of these columns, the light reflects back to you. So then the idea, we kept on working on the idea of differentiating and have this distinction of these three parts, the rock, the walls, and the monuments. And then we started tests with luminaires on site. And here, this is one of our very, very first tests. We tried a luminaire of 4000 K, LED, of course. There was no any question if we would use or not use LED technology in 2020. So we took several luminaires at the beginning from those we had in stock in our demo room, and we took them and we went many nights at the site and tried our idea of having the rock at 4000 K and the walls at 3000 K. And we thought it worked very well, this differentiation. Then we started, as I said at the beginning, we were divided in three groups in our office. One group was doing a lot of research and collaboration with the archaeologists to figure out all the things we should know about the architecture of these ancient temples, about the significance of even the smaller monuments all around the rock, etc., etc. And also research about finding all, let's say, DWG, there was not a 3D model at that time. We created the 3D model. So we needed all the information in order to create our model. So one team was working on that. The second team was working on creating the 3D model. And the other team was working for, let's say, investigating all the firms, all the brands with good outdoor lighting fixtures to figure out which are the ones that we could use to do the lighting for both the monuments and the rock and the walls. We decided that the color temperature, the range that we should go for was from 2,700 to almost 5,000 K. And for that reason, we were looking for brands, for companies that they had tunable white. Again, saying from the range of 2,700 and 5,000. We wanted, and we knew from the beginning that we want to have the flexibility to play with the different intensities and different color temperatures for each one column. And this was why we wanted also the lighting fixtures to have the DMX controllability. Here you see the previous situation on the left, and one of our first tests on the temple, playing a little bit in exaggeration about having in one side warm white and on the other side of the column a cooler white light. Also, we used a slightly different position of the previous installation in order to have a better three-dimensionality of the columns. Here, again, it's an exaggeration. We wanted to see how far we could go with the difference of warm white and cooler white. not cool, but cooler. Here it's a previous situation of the propyla. Again, the orange color was annoying a lot, and also that we could not see at all the three-dimensionality of the columns, of the sculptures. Previous situation from another point of view. And again, while we were doing these tests, we came to another, let's say, idea or a new concept. In the previous situation, the warmer, almost orange, deep orange was from the inside, and a little bit cooler but still warm was on the outside. We played with the same philosophy, which is here, but then we wanted to be a little bit more rebellious, and we went to the opposite concept, which is to have to the inside walls the cool white, and to the outside columns the warmer. So we came up with this dilemma, because at the end it became a dilemma. Here again you will see cool on the inside and warm on the columns. Again, we were playing still with different color temperatures. We had not yet decided which exactly will be the color temperature. So we had in our equipment, we had the luminaries that they had the ability to be from 2,700 up to almost 5,000 K to play with and do our tests. And again, here, more tests at the different points. Luxo meters here and in every place. This is the previous situation. Again, we had so much busy, how you call it, space here with all these luminaires that we want to clear away. We kept on our testings while Angelos, who is with us tonight, this afternoon, is with us, and I will ask him later on to show you the model we created and how we start our testings, not only on site, but also on our model. Coming back to the dilemma, which is better, a warm white in the inside and cooler columns on the outside, or the opposite? This was a big dilemma that actually, before deciding what we will do, we asked the committee of the Greek archaeologists their opinion, and it's interesting to tell you that they were divided in half and half. The philosophy, or let's say the previous concept, was that the warmth comes from the inside of a temple, because the candles to the goddess Athena or the torches are giving a warm light, while the columns are made of marble, white marble, and are there stable to hold the temple. So it makes sense that this concept is better from this concept. This concept's philosophy was that the inside of the temple has the spiritual light, which is very, very bright white light, while the man-made columns from very experts in sculpting technicians, sculptors, are there to remind us the human limits. So anyways, we had two concepts. I will not tell you yet what we finally decided to do, but you might see on the photographs at the end of the completed project. Another side of the Temple of Athena Nike. This is the east side of it, who again we play with warm inside, cooler outside, or the opposite. And then it's the previous situation of the Erechtheion and the famous Caryatides. And again, we played with the dilemma, warm, cool, cool, warm. While we were doing our tests, as I said, on site, Angelos, who's with us, had managed to create, Angelos and his team with Maria and Konstantinos, another person who gave us the 3D model of the Parthenon. They did created the 3D model of the Parthenon first, Erechtheion, and Athina Niki with Propylaea at the end. We don't have plenty of time, but I would like for him to share his screen and show you a little bit, while I will keep on speaking, to show you a little bit our work on the 3D model and the questions that we had to answer and the problems we had to solve. So, yes, Angela, we can see the Parthenon, and I would like you, we can see it perfectly, yes. I would like you, if you could move it a little bit around, clockwise, if you like. And well, okay, if we can stop here, this is the south side of the Parthenon. And I have to say, and you will see later on our pictures, that we could not place the luminaires wherever we would like. This was one of the major restrictions because the archaeological site, it's still under, and it will be for many, many years, under archaeological restoration. So there are plenty of pieces of marble and pieces of sculptures that are all around the periphery of the Parthenon. So the positions and the places were specific. And at the beginning, we thought of using one luminaire. Or if we go a little bit closer, Angela, we can see and we can show to everybody that you can see for economy of space, we used the same base for two luminaries. And as you see here, and the one is facing to the column on the right and the other one to the column of the left. And this created the final result. Before that, we had, in order to create a better three-dimensionality, we used one luminaire in order to light the one after the other column, but this was not possible, and it made a better effect of three-dimensionality, but in reality it was not possible. And the reason that it was not possible was that we could not place from the inside of the columns and between the inside and the wall, you see half of it, it's turned down, but we could not see as many luminaires as we would like from the inside. And at the end, we thought that the most important is the monument and not the lighting. The lighting is there to serve the monument to reflect its own light. And I'm saying this because it's very interesting, the process and the journey during this project. It was a journey that we went at the beginning as we go to any project, which we put our knowledge, our experience, our technical knowledge and aesthetics, etc., etc., etc. But even from the very first week, we realized that this project is a project that we should approach it in a different way. What I mean, and maybe I don't know if it's time to say it now, but I will say it again maybe later on, It's a project that you, as a lighting designer, have to forget what you know and be like blank paper and listen to the monument what it needs. The monument, and now I believe every building with very good architecture. And don't forget that Parthenon has been told by architects and sculptors in all the century that it's the perfect architecture building. Each lighting designer has to forget what they know and let the building to speak to them. And this is what we did. And before making decisions, we tested and we tried on the monument to see what it serves better with economy and with measure. What it serves better, because maybe we thought it would be much better lighting to have also lighting fixtures from the inside, but we thought it is an insult to place so many luminaires in the temple. So we tried to do to give the dimensionality with as less as possible lighting fixtures. And if Angelos now will let us go in, you will see that even from the inside of the temple, the three-dimensionality is really remarkable. It's a pity that the Acropolis site is closed at night, and of course nobody is allowed to be in the inside. But for us, it's an honor to have and the inside of the temple well lit. Yes, we did light even this inside wall, because from some parts of, let's say, the Lycabettus hill, you can see the inside of this wall. And if we can go a little bit outside, Angela, and talk about the Cripida and the frieze on the top. Yes, if you can go a little bit further away, Agile, I would like to show the north side. Yes, yes, we have put these luminaires on the north, separate from those that are lighting the columns. We have placed this in order to do light the top, the frieze of the temple. Yes, and believe it or not, we did light even the base of the temple. Some questions we had was, but who will see that base? And it was, you know, a joke we had between us in the office. Who will see this base? Maybe a bird, an eagle from a night eagle from the side. But we thought that if we were not lighting everything of the temple, it will let it, how you say it, cripple. No matter if someone sees it from away or from nearby, the temple had to be perfect and illuminated in the best way we could. And I have to mention, although the most important of the Acropolis monuments was Parthenon, it was the easiest to light. It was easiest. He's very photogenic, I have to say. The interesting thing, now here you can see the lux levels. Thank you, Angela, of reminding me. After all these measurements and the photometric calculations, we decided that the best lux levels for the monument to be lit and be seen beautifully from close and from far away is between, we should say, 75 or 80 lux until 120, 25. And this is seen, yeah, the levels that Angelo shows with the cursor. And this is seen beautifully from close, very, very close, even next to it, and from many, many kilometers away. We will show you later on photographs from close and far away. As I said, the Parthenon and the monuments, except Propylaea, were not so difficult to light. We took very good care of also of the light pollution. No, let's go back a little bit, Angela, to say a little bit about the choice of the luminaire. After having tested 6 or 7 brands with luminaires, we ended up with 3. I have to mention here that although we started end of January and we were ready to show to the Ministry of Culture, the Greek Archaeological Council, and of course our sponsor, the Onassis Foundation, our lighting study, and at the, if I remember well, 20 or 15th of March, we did the presentation. A week before or after, we had the first total lockdown in Greece, in Athens, in Greece. And this lockdown was after many, many lockdowns in Europe. And many of European factories, luminaire factories, had to close for, we didn't know at that time, a week, 2 or a month, because of COVID incidents. So this created such a big problem in our sample testing. Anyways, we came up with 3 brands to do our final testing, and the winner was at the end ERCO, which created for us in a very short time a prototype based on their light scan fixture, but created a prototype that was tunable, wide, and DMX controllable. So we had this big opportunity to have our luminaires with their beautiful and very helpful for us, for any lighting designer, lenses that they had, let's say, from 11 to 45 degrees elliptical lens. And it was exactly what we needed for each column. So we decided, but still not finally, that each temple of the 4 temples on the rock, they could have their own different white light. And so the Parthenon had levels from coming, let's say, from east to the east to west. If we go from east to west, Angele, on the other side, the other, all around. A little more, please, a little more. Okay, here. So from east to west, our luminaires, we decided to have them at a warmer white, meaning like 2,900, while from west to east to have a little bit cooler on this side. So the color temperature of the Parthenon was very important because it gave it made distinction from some side views of Parthenon from, let's say, the Erechtheion, which is from some side views, the one is behind the other. On the other hand, Erechtheion, it's much warmer color temperature from 2,700 in the inside and 3,100 on the outside. The Temple of Nike, we will see later on, it's much brighter in terms of cooler light, and so on. So we were very happy with everything about the temples. The big problem was the rock. And everybody would think, okay, a rock, it's a rock. What is a big deal to do the lighting of the rock? Okay, and then the other big problem in terms of time limits was that we didn't have a model, and we had to create a model of the rock. And here is Angelos again to show us the rock. The difficulty was that we wanted to separate the wall from the rock, and there were places of the rock that we could not even step on it and place the luminaries, because the idea was to place the luminaires here and wall wash the walls. If you can show with the cursor, Angele. And we wanted to wall wash the walls, and from down below we would use with specific angle luminaires to light the rock. But the rock had 4000 K and the walls had 3000 K, and we didn't want to intermingle them. At the same time, we didn't want to have a sharp line of difference lighting. That was the big problem. I think we managed to solve with telling you we had to go and focus and dim one by one all the fixtures. I don't know, Agile, if you would like to show us the one with the colors, the model with the colors. So, at our calculations, we decided that the lux levels now of the rock should be not more than 50 lux, and the walls at around 70. So you can see a degradation of even the luminosity, rocks at 50, walls at 70, monuments from 80 until 120. And again, the color temperature, we had a cool, very cool at 4000 rock, the base. We had warm at 3000 K, the walls that are made of brick, so even the material was different. And as I said before, the temples in a different color temperature and luminosity. And if you allow me to go back to my screen now. Okay. So we, with ERCOS samples, we kept on doing our tests, but also with all the results from the model that Angelos and his team were doing, we kept on doing our tests. How we approached the south slope and the monuments of the south slope in a similar concept, and of course with, let's say, more casual way. The monuments of the south slope include the theater, the first ancient theater of Western world, the theater of Dionysus, and also the Asclepion, the Asclepios Healing Center. And here you see the previous situation, and the sponsors' columns, and the monument of Thrasilos, Stoa Evmenus, and again the theater of Dionysus. At the same time, our other team, which are collaborators with us, two companies for electricians, they started changing they start changing the pillars with new ones, and putting in paper all the electric schedule. In our study, it was the monument of Philopappus, as well as the beautiful temple of Hephaestus. This is the previous situation. You will see how we dealt with Hephaestus. Hephaestus is the god of the fire. So although we didn't at all considered to use orange or very warm color, however, the color temperature and luminosity of Hephaestus temple was similar to the Parthenon, because they were built at the same period, only 10 years apart. So here it's our tests and proposals. The inside, it's much warmer than the outside. Now, another thing we had to do and to convince the archaeologists was the new luminaires that we wanted to use to have a much smaller shape and size, a better shape and size. And so we had to do all these comparison tests and photographs to convince the, I think, 46 archaeologists of the council about our proposals. Also, the color that we're supposed to paint, a custom-made color, we're supposed to paint our fixtures. It had to be something that will be more to the gray scale, or something that would be more to the whitish scale. And also the luminaries that we supposed to use for the periphery, we proposed this type of color, while for the monuments we decided to use this color. Finally, I have to say that we used for all the monuments and the rock and the walls, the luminaires, the light scan of ERCO. For some of the monuments of the south slope, we used periscope of linear light, and for the wall washing of the walls, we used the linear light of Griven. We created our lighting plots and DWG, and where we had to show them in blue and red color what were the existing, the new, etc., situations, positions, sorry. And after we had everything ready for our proposal, we and before starting this, we created a short video to show to the ministry and the archaeologists to show our concept. Juliette, is it possible to share the first, the video number 1? this new concept, and we had to make as profound as possible this new philosophy about distinguishing these three levels. And that's why we created this video, and I think they were convinced, and actually they upload the new concept and all of them voted for the new lighting of the Acropolis. So we were very happy because, you know, the Greek Archaeological Council, they are very strict and very fair, and they're very strict. So to have a unanimity and all of them to vote for the concept gave us a very good feeling to go on. And yes, we started going on. The only good thing about the pandemic in this project was that the archaeological site was closed during the whole period because of the lockdown and the restrictions. So the electricians could work even daytime with no restrictions space. They changed all the cabling, as I said before, the electrical pillars, everything was installed, and even the basis of the luminaires, they were constructed on site. It was very difficult to carry cement, to carry the heavy basis. It was better to carry the cement and have water there and construct it on site. And I have to say that the team was incredible, working day and night. We finally, because of the COVID, made possible to change the opening and the complete completion date from July to move it to 30th of September. And this gave us a little more breath to do our programming. And also, I have to mention here that this gentleman, actually Dimitris Kapetanelis, he did all the programming and also all the control system of the Acropolis. They managed, him and his team, to replace the previous lighting system with a new. So not even one night the Acropolis was unlit. They managed to change, the fixtures in the daytime in several parts, and using his programming, he merged the previous lighting with the new lighting without having the Parthenon and the monuments and the rock unlit, not even for a single night, which for me it was a miracle. Maybe if you have questions, you can ask me later on. Here you can see, and I should say, but you can see the technical, let's say, and in numbers, difference from the previous situation to the new situation, from the metal halide lamps to the LED modules. The economy we have, of course, in the consumption, but also the not only in the consumption, but also in servicing. This made everybody very, very happy. And of course, we followed all the regulations that we had to. And we completed our project. And I would like to show you some of the photographs. If maybe we can, and then we can see the two videos. Here the project is complete. Here you see the east side of the propylaea, the entrance of the site. This is Parthenon from the east view, from east side. This is the west. Still the scaffolding is there because they have a lot of restoration to do up here. Full moon, many full moons we have been there up at inside this temple. Here it's a view from the Philopappou monuments across the Acropolis, from the Lycabettus Hill. And I think this photograph shows our effort to have the distinction of the both color, temperature, as well as luminosity. And even here you can see that there is a differentiation of the color temperature of these temples. More photographs. This is the south view, I'm sorry. Again, the rock, the walls, and the temple, Parthenon. From a drone view, again from very, very bird's eye view. Close up. What we managed to do with very, very good and high CRI, more than 92, they promised and they did, the Arco company, is to have such a good, because of this, such a good color CRI, color rendering index of the luminaires, we had good distinction of the new parts with the old parts of the restoration. And this is something that the archaeologists liked it very much. Here at the Erechthio, a temple with different, let's say, service, we thought that it needed to be much more warmer than Parthenon from the inside, and in harmony the columns on the outside. Caryatides. One of them is the real one. The other three are replicas, as you see here, and they are the real ones are at the museum, the British Museum. Some more photos. The beautiful small temple of Athena Nike, Athena, goddess Athena, Nike or Nike. And the south wall, the Evmenus wall. This is from the Roman times, is not from the antiquity. And the ancient theater of Dionysus, which is also under restoration. Asclepios. Here we figured it out. It was too burning, so we changed it. But this photo is made is taken from before our the monument of Philopappos, and from Philopappos the view to Acropolis. And here it's the temple of Hephaestus and the view to the Acropolis. And I would like Juliette to share with us the second video. What I did something wrong. I know that I'm back here. I know that we don't have much time, and I would like to give some time for questions. So before, we had one more video, which is actually the video from the launch event, the video of that, we call it opening of that night, but we don't have time. It was a bit, if we have time after the questions are finished, we can show this last video. Before closing, I would like to say that this project, as I said before, it was a journey. And it was a journey that changed us all professionally and personally. And it was a project that taught us measure, as I said before, in all aspects. It taught us respect to the history and the civilization, but also to each other. It was a very good project to learn how to get rid of your professional ego and from the I want to do thing, and let the project itself, the monument in this case, or maybe a building in some other case, to speak to you and listen. And it's a beautiful thing to listen to the lighting. Actually, it was a beautiful time for all of us to appreciate beauty in a different way. And also Acropolis taught us to see and appreciate the light that shines and reflects from and through all objects and all beings. And I have to say that this was an incredible light. Thank you. And please, if you have any questions, me and Angelos, we would like to answer them.
Thank you, Eleftheria. So yeah, indeed, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them using the chat function. Thank you very much, Eleftheria. Really very interesting insight on the thought process, the concept, the challenges you had during this this project. We have a couple of questions, actually. I think you have covered some more or less, but let's go through them. So the first one, can you please discuss how you considered the scale and the perspective? So seeing the site from close up or far away, and did you have to light for both cases? Did you have to consider, for example, TV cameras, lighting for TV?
The scale, during the first visits we had on site, the scale was overwhelming. I have to say that it became more overwhelming when we had so little time. What helped was, I think, the way we organized the work. As I said, there were 3 groups working in these 3 different aspects, and me running around in all neighborhoods of Athens, some neighborhoods I had never been before, in all neighborhoods of Athens, to see with my eyes and with my camera what is seen from far away. During our on-site tests, I have to tell you that we were doing our models and our photometric calculations, as you saw, and it was a big model. I mean, Angelos showed you the 1/20th of what we had. Although we were doing and we were getting the information we wanted, personally, I didn't trust the computer. I trusted more my eyes. Thank God I can see well still. I was trusting my eyes because lighting is something that is relevant to something else. It's relevant to the existing lighting of around. It's relevant to from where, which part, which place you are looking at. I went inside homes of people who had the luxury, and they were very lucky to have homes that there are windows. From their windows, you could see the Parthenon or the Erechtheion or part of the rock. And I went to several neighborhoods to figure out that what I was seeing was similar to what the computer was showing to us. And during the tests, the on-site tests, while my team was there holding the 3000K lamp light on the rock, and the other person was holding another luminaire on one column, and someone else was hanging up there to do the wall washing lighting of the wall, and find in a small slice view to figure out that what our computer was giving us in terms of luminosity and color temperature was pleasing to the eyes. This is how we were doing it. We used the technology as much as we had and worked with it, but at the end, the final decision was made by our eyes perception.
Okay, and as you said, it is the site is actually closed at night, so it was more about the perspective of how it looks from far away rather than from being inside.
However, as I said, I think I said in my presentation, we did care how it looks and from nearby. Maybe in the future, the Ministry of Culture thought of opening the site twice a year. I don't know. So just in case, but it is, let's say, after respect to the monuments. We did light all the corners all around. It is, I have to say, it's a loving relationship with the monuments. We did not went there to just light. We went through all what we know about our history and civilization, which we could not leave it aside and be, you know, called technical people. It was part of our process in this project.
Nice. Another question. So about the new marble additions. So as we saw in the pictures, these are of much lighter color. And we have a question here. Did the new marble additions have an impact on the lighting design? And was there any purpose to distinguish the original parts from the additions?
It was not our purpose to distinguish the new part at all. And actually, we were asking the archaeologists and the people of the restoration, how long does it take a new marble piece to take the texture and the color of the old one? And they told us it takes 20 years. So it was not our intention or purpose to highlight the new marble. On the contrary, let's say, because we're not archaeologists, we didn't care, we didn't want it. However, at the end, the fact that we chose very high CRI factor for the luminaires and created these results, at the end, there were people from neighborhoods around, and they said, oh, now we can see details of the Parthenon. We can even see the restoration. So it seems like this that we didn't do on purpose had a very good effect, because whether we like it or not, and it's not me who will decide if to restore and replace the broken parts in a monument, it's good or bad, but in some way it's a reality, and this reality, it's not hidden. So I think we didn't do on purpose, but at the very end, it didn't ruin the how you call it, the value of the monument.
Yeah, to be honest, when I saw the pictures, I thought that it's part of the history, it's part of the monument. So it's, for me, it's nice that they're highlighted. Another one, can you please discuss your consideration for light spill and night glow? It's a huge site with lots of powerful luminaires and all seem to be lighting up. So was this a consideration?
Yes, this is a question that actually it is how to call it, a big dilemma, professional dilemma. In me personally, they have asked me in the past and even now to do the lighting of this fortress or of this of another rock somewhere in Greece, etc., etc., and I have denied, because I believe that you don't light nature. However, Acropolis is not one of all the buildings that we should consider the night pollution as we do for all the rest. Acropolis is a building that we did light nature, the rock, and the only reason we did that is because of the significance of this rock, that they call it holy rock in antiquity. It was the holy rock. For some reason, the ancient Greeks chose this rock instead of another next, which is a higher hill, much higher. For some reason, they they named it Holy Rock of the Acropolis. So we did light it with very big care, there not to have spill of light. We did light it with what we thought would be the minimum luminosity. From the 10, there are points that we have used 10 lux to 50 as maximum, but we could not have unlit the base of the Parthenon. Otherwise, it would have been something like hovering in the air. We do take very big, how you call it, care of any glare, or as we could, of course, any glare and light pollution. And that's why two people of our team who have motorcycles, they have been all around Athens to see if there is any light that there is a spill outside the column. And I think we managed in a very, very big percentage to deal with this problem. Now, if this monument, the lighting of this monument, if it creates night pollution, if Acropolis and the Parthenon would be better if they were not lit. If you go on top of Parthenon and you see the rest of Athens, I think someone should start from all around, and then if Parthenon is so bright and creates night pollution, then of course I will be the first to go and dim all the lights, and also to convince, if I may, the Ministry of Culture to have every full moon to have the monuments off. This was a proposal I made, but maybe things are not ripe enough for such a suggestion. But I think in comparison with the night and light pollution of the rest of the city, Parthenon, I think, stands there bravely lit and with good concern of that.
And there's no curfew after which the light is switched off during the night, right? The light remains on.
No, I forgot to mention, we have used DMX, and actually each one light is controlled independently from the other in terms of intensity and of color, temperature, and of the monuments. For economy reasons, we didn't use DMX for all the rock, all the lights that are lighting the rock on the walls. They have dim on board, those ones. It made a big economy to the cabling, so we decided to do it this way. But there is an astronomical clock, and the lights every night turn on during the sunset, and they turn off during the sunrise.
Okay.
If the Ministry of Culture decides to change this and have, as I said before, the full moons, how many we have, 13 full moons in a year, to have the monuments lit, we are able with this astronomical clock to program it and do it.
Okay. So during commissioning, did you have, during the program actually of the project, did you introduce any last minute changes? Was there something specific that had to be altered or from what you proposed, or you didn't have any, let's say, hiccups during this process?
I have to tell you that although the programming, we didn't make many changes. We had a period of actually the whole month of September to do the programming of the monuments. The rest was pretty much done. I mean, the wall and the walls and the rock. But we had almost the month of September, because what we have done is we wanted to see, let's say, from the north part of Athens, Monastiraki for the Greeks, or Patision. From that part, we wanted to see how Erechthio, who is in front of the Parthenon, and it seems Parthenon is behind, to figure out if the levels we have created, it's good from that side as well. So we needed some time, because, you know, the night in September does not last as long as in the winter months. And with my car and my colleagues with a motorcycle and cars, we could not, how many points of the city could visit in one night. But yes, we did some back and forth. We had to change a little bit our programming for the lounge event night, because then we wanted, I made this lighting design, but it was like the Parthenon lights last. We have first the Nike, then Propylia, then Erechthia, and then last the Parthenon is lighting. So we did program this change. And of course, the lights come on as fade in. We don't have an on. We have like a 9 seconds fade in. But we have locked the program, but whenever we would like to make some changes, we can do. It's the mosaic program of ETC, and it's very flexible, and we can put our computer and work on it anytime.
Okay. Nice. And another one. So I understand that the design was made during 45 days. I think you mentioned a bit longer, or was it a month and a half? Oh, okay.
We did in 45 days, and then we took 15 more in order to make some adjustments to how you call it, to make some small changes. But we were working day and night, very little sleep during these months.
I can imagine.
Very little sleep. Then many people were working day and night.
And does that mean that the project, how was the assignment of the project? Was it from the ministry directly to your studio, or?
Okay, during December of 2019, the Onassis Foundation, who had undertook the sponsorship of the whole project, made a small I should say, competition, and they asked for several companies, several lighting studios from Greece mainly, but I think from other countries, like a call. Please send us your portfolio, a team, what is your team members, and if you have the ability also to install and implement the study in case you are chosen, and several characteristics. So we created our book and we gave it, I think it was 19th of December. And we didn't hear anything, but at the end of January 2020, after 2 months, they called us back to, you know, to arrange several details, and I think it was the 28th, the 30th of January, they assigned us the work.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, we started working before assigning the contract. The contract was a long procedure as well, so we were working because we didn't have time to think of.
I think that's the way to do stuff when you're in such a hurry, actually. It's not just a Greek thing, we do it worldwide. One last question. So for last year's Trotter Patterson lecture, we had another lady coming from stage and theatrical lighting design, Paul Costable. And what she mentioned, actually it was a question from the audience, was that she would love to be involved in architectural lighting, but with her background in stage lighting, this is not something, she didn't have the chance yet. How did you decide to make this move, go from stage lighting to architectural lighting?
Okay, I have to go many years ago when I went from dancing career to the lighting. When I was young, I studied stage lighting because I wanted to do the lighting for my own choreography. And I remember, like this lady who asks this question, I remember I met Jennifer Tipton, this famous American stage lighting designer. And I said, Mrs. Tipton, how do you manage not to, how you say in English?
Desire, yes.
Not to desire to be on stage, because I had changed. I had become a stage lighting designer and I had left my dancing career. I said, how don't you feel, you know, homesick about dancing? I said, my dear, be as much as also be as much as you can into the light. Very spiritual answer, but I remember her every time that I work in the theater, in the architectural lighting, I try to be as much as possible into the light. So after coming back to Greece and start doing my stage lighting, I came back in 1992, and many people were asking me advice about lighting of their hotel lounge, reception lounge, or for an office, or for a store. And I was giving my advice. So I then realized that lighting is one thing, and the principles of lighting are the same. Direction, color, intensity, the natural light, and then the architectural or stage lighting share the same principles. And if you know very well the principles, then what you need to do is to know your tools. And when I started let's say getting into, because I never left, I love theater and stage lighting. When I started getting into the architectural lighting, I went to all the LDI trade shows then that they were giving many lectures and many courses. I took many courses in architectural lighting. And at the same time, I was thinking with the principles of lighting. Then it is a time, if you go back to the 2000, beginning of 2000, it was the time that the technology of the architectural lighting was starting to borrow things from the theater lighting. Because in theater lighting, we use DMX since, I don't know, 1980. And DMX is something that now is going into the architectural. And color or shaping, framing and shaping of the beam was something that we used a lot in the stage lighting. And then the companies, the architectural lighting companies, starting, instead of having only a beautiful enclosure of a lighting fixture, to think about the characteristics to put in. And of course, the LED technology comes and gives other possibilities, together with a lot of headaches, but LED technology gives other possibilities in the shape, size, and ability of lighting. So it was something that I don't know exactly when and how I did it. I know it's a process of learning, and I am still learning. It never ends, this. I'm still learning. I learn and I love lighting, so I'm very happy that it's endless, this field, and I can always learn more and more and more about lighting.
And never be bored.
No, not at all. And it's amazing. Not even healing through lighting. It's my last year's new passion, if I should say.
Nice.
So I don't know if I have answered that question, how it happened. It happens by studying a lot the principles of lighting. And then you can apply them knowing your tools. You cannot go and light something if you don't know the principles of lighting. And there are very few. It's like, as I say, the 7 notes of the pentagram of music, do, re, mi, fa, sol, you know, these 7 principles there are in lighting, as I was teaching them anyways. And with these 7 principles, you can create as endless lighting environments and experiences. And as you can have with the 7 notes, you can have so many musical pieces and songs. And
yeah.
So I think it's starting from the principles.
Nice. So thank you very much for today's presentation. Really, really very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Any questions, we'll aim to reply to them through email. And yeah, looking forward for the next event. Thank you very much, Eleftheria.
Thank you, Alexander and all.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.